Okay, first of all, thank you very much to Georgie for inviting me to this conference, which is very exciting. It's the first time I'm in Budapest, but unfortunately I won't be able to see anything. But okay, well, my paper is not directly on elites, but it is related to the role of elites in the European Union. It is focused on the congruence of between citizens and representatives concerning the European Union issues. My research questions are basically to what extent the crisis has affected congruence between citizens and their representatives, either at system, countries, or party levels. The second question is how has congruence in the European Union dimension evolved during the crisis? And third, how is this evolution related to the specific economic situation in each country? The novelty of this paper, I mean the contributions I think this paper is making are, first of all, that I focus on different concepts of congruence. Most of the papers focus on just one concept or just two measures, but I focus on different measures, different concepts of congruence. Many-to-one congruence, which is a measure of centrality, and many-to-many congruence, which is a measure of the overall representativeness of MPs or political elites with respect to their respective citizens. The second contribution is that I use survey data for both citizens and representatives. Most of the papers or most of the articles on congruence use other sources to construct representatives' positions, expert surveys, manifesto project data, etc. Concerning congruence, it is basically the correspondence between preference of citizens and the positions or eventually actions of the political representatives. It is a normative dimension. In its normative dimension, is an indicator of the quality of democracy, a manifestation of the representative link in responsible party government. However, the concept of congruence and its study has a number of problems. First of all is the question of dimensionality. Literature assumes that in order to be representative congruence needs to be realized in just one dimension of the political space. But there are many studies that say that there's not only one dimension, the left-right dimension, but there are other dimensions of political confrontation. Another problem is the actual relevance of congruence. No, is it really necessary? Because this is an assumption of the populist version of the theory of democracy, but there are other views of democracy that don't assume that congruence is necessary. And third, there are other problems, most related to this paper, which are conceptual and problems of measurement. These are some of the conceptual issues. We have to make several choices here. Who are the representatives and the represented? At which level we are analyzing congruence, system or party? Which understanding of congruence do we have? Many-to-one, centrality, or many-to-many relationships. The attributes we are focusing on, preferences, emphasis, decisions, and also the dimensions we are focusing on, left-right dimension or other specific issues. These are also the measurement issues which units of analysis we are using, citizens and representatives, voters and parties, which measures we are using, how to compute such measures. For instance, here I use a measure of many-to-many congruence, which is different from what other measure of many-to-many congruence that has been proposed by other authors. And another measurement issue is where does information come from in order to construct citizens and representatives positions. I've mentioned several sources. I repeat, I focus here on surveys both for citizens and representatives. At the EU level, the congruence has become a relevant topic because of during the last 20 years there has been disagreement on the fact that there has been a process of politicization of the European Union, and during this period I think congruence has become a criterion of the overall quality of democracy in the European Union. The evolution, well, this is the evolution of congruence on EU issues a long time. This is from the literature review I make in the paper. Well, we observed that during the 90s there was a considerable degree of congruence, but during the late 90s and the 2000s, the congruence between representatives and citizens have decreased. So I think this is mostly related to the politicization of EU issues at the EU level, of the in national arenas. Sorry. But still, there's no comparative study focusing on the crisis period. So this is the gap I try to fill. These are my hypotheses. First one is that congruence between citizens and national MPs has experienced a significant decrease since 2009. Second one is that congruence between citizens and national MPs has decreased more acutely in countries subject to financial assistance programs, to conditionality, to bailouts. And the third one is that congruence in all our new member states has remained similar during the crisis. These are the data and the methods. Because of the data I use, mostly from the European City Social Survey for citizens and the Intune and ENEC projects for elites, I only focus on 9 countries, which are Bulgaria, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Lithuania, Portugal, Spain, and Slovenia. These are the congruence measures I use in this paper. Several many-to-one congruence measures, and one many-to-many measure, which is Andebek's, the one suggested by Rudy Andebek. Well, these are the results. Because of the PowerPoint, I think it is not worth to show all the regressions, etc. Well, at the system level, there is no significant variation in EU congruence during the crisis in general terms. There are some changes in some countries. For instance, it depends on the measure we use. We detect several relevant cases. For instance, we detect an increase in congruence in Bulgaria, Hungary, and Spain, and a decrease in congruence in Italy. Regarding the comparison between countries, the comparison between the levels of relative congruence between countries, the countries with the highest levels of congruence are Lithuania, Bulgaria, and Italy, and the countries with the lowest levels of Congress are Germany, France, and Spain. Concerning the many-to-many Congress, remember this measures the overall representativeness of the parliament with respect to citizens on this issue. Okay, the less representative parliaments are France, Germany, and Spain, coinciding with the previous result, and the more representative ones are again Lithuania, Bulgaria, and Italy. So these measures are basically correlated, so they're measuring the same thing, but there are very small variations between measures. And the most interesting changes, or the most important changes in many-to-many Congress have occurred during the crisis in Italy and Portugal, where Congress have increased, and in Hungary and Germany, the overall Congress of their parliaments have decreased, which is, in the case of Hungary, there is a contrast between the many-to-many and the many-to-one measures. This is the only case where there is contradiction between the two types of measures. At the party level, neither crisis nor conditionality are statistically significant, and only new member states are significantly more congruent than all member states. This is the only significant result I get. However, there's not been change during the crisis in new member states concerning the levels of congruence. So the only hypothesis that is confirmed is the third one, that there is no change in the levels of congruence in new member states during the crisis. Conclusions. Crisis did not bring changes in congruence concerning European Union issues. So I haven't shown this data in the paper because it is still it is a first draft, but further analysis shows that there's more congruence in the left-right dimension than in the EU dimension, which confirms the results of previous studies. And EU and left-right congruence are not correlated, which is also confirmed in previous studies at the party level, because at the country level it is correlation, but I can explain why is that. So the main conclusion is that still there is potential for more politicization of the EU in some countries. So thank you very much. Here you have all the graphs and statistics, but it's not worth to show them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.